biggest thing that I encounter is people who say, yes, we understand, we agree Israel should be able to defend itself and exist. We agree that Hamas is terrorists. We agree that they need to be taken out. But it just, despite what the Israeli army says about all the measures that they take, they also see, 2,000-pound bombs being dropped that aren't even often done in less civilian areas these days in war, or they see, large numbers of civilians casualties to take out a few members of Hamas, and they think it's too much and not justifiable. What do you say to those people? Because that is the thing that I keep encountering the most, that people they believe in the idea, even if they do, but they think the cost is too high. What do you say to that?
It's a very good question. Conducting a war is not something that I think many of these people have ever done. I can tell you from seeing how this is conducted, the measures regarding civilian casualties are taken seriously. Some here are taken even too seriously.
Because of risks to your own troops?
Not just because of risks to our own troops, because of risks to infrastructure and to civilians. You have to understand something. When now somebody is bombing, we're about to bomb, you don't bomb. Everything today is accurate. You have a target, you know where it is, you aim very accurately. So you know what are you supposed to hit. Before you press the bullet, not only your commander, there's usually another officer responsible for approving this, and you have officers from the civic administration who wants to make sure that critical infrastructures are not going to be damaged. It's not a random process.
Right.
Especially when you're trying to put a large bomb. And this is done exactly the opposite the way Hamas does it, which is basically aim randomly and hopefully it will hit a civilian area. Many of the people who lost their lives in Gaza did so because of the missiles that came from Hamas that hit the ground. And the answer you should give is that this issue has been taken very seriously. Our mission still is to defend our people. And I think if you see carnage and death of civilians in Gaza, it is sad, it is tragic. But somebody also needs to point the finger into those responsible for this. And again, Hamas aptly is utilizing not only civilian areas, not only hospitals, United Nations facilities, in order to conduct its fight. In order to make sure that then afterwards somebody is going to shoot and says, how dare you target at a school or a UN facility. I mean, this is the lowest of the low. And with all of this, I think the war is conducted by limiting as much as possible the damage to civilian, certainly civilian life. And this is why we created a safe zone. If you would have done what Hamas would do and using our technology, this basically says, let's just randomly send, not accurately send every missile to hit every place that we know we have an access.
Right, that's carpet bombing. You're not doing that, you're targeting and trying to limit as much as possible. And in most, correct me if I'm wrong, but in most war scenarios, the people that are civilians are allowed to cross into another border to escape, to be wartime refugees, like in the beginning of the Ukraine war. 5.9 million people in the first month went into neighboring countries.
Why we have
Egypt doesn't allow it. So
Egypt would not allow it, but that's why
makes it so much more complex for Israel to even they create these grids and tell them to go here and go there. It's very, very great lengths as I see it.
But also this is why we have cleaned the northern part of Gaza. And now we have this process of beginning to speak about a day after. But before that, we need to make sure that Hamas is going to be dismantled. We need to create a new leadership. The Egyptians were very stubborn about not allowing refugees in, but they were less stubborn about preventing some of the weapons coming in to Gaza. And we need to deal with all of these issues.